do you think that you were born with leadership, or do you think that you've cultivated it through this podcast that we do, through books that you read, through people that you've been around? Do you think that's where it came from, or do you think you were born with it and just didn't realize it?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Welcome to Old Guys Still Rock. Super grateful you gave us a look or a listen. We specifically developed this podcast for friends, or soon to be friends, who are in the 40 plus category. This podcast is a platform to not only have your voices be heard, but also for others who are going through the same thing and know that they too aren't alone. Our topics may be business, topics may be entrepreneurship, our topics may be social, or our topics may be just everyday life. Whatever it is, we hope that you give it a share and leave us a comment. But most of all, if you want your voice to be heard, please leave us a comment on how to get a hold of you so you too can be an old guy that still rocks and help build our community. Until we speak again, stay safe, but most of all, God bless. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. This is your first time here. We are Old Guys Still Rocking. This is the best episode that you have never seen before in your life. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. We hope that you had a great Christmas. This is literally the day after Christmas. I can't believe it. We had 80-degree weather for Christmas, which is it's just weird, man. It's very hard to get in the Christmas spirit when you're in the shorts and sweating on the golf course. But anyway, so my name is Blair Armstrong. I'm Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker. I'm a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate located in the beautiful Coachella Valley. If you don't know where the Coachella Valley is, it's basically the Palm Springs area. So all the Palm Springs, through all the cities throughout there. That's where I'm located. We're actually kind of having a little bit of cloudy, gray weather today. It's kind of weird, but it's nice. I get to wear some warmer clothes today. Mm-hmm. But on my right, possibly your left, is a good friend of mine for almost 30 years, Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated, a man with many, many hats that he has cultivated, grown, fine-tuned, pruned over those course of that time. But from wellness centers to body shops to payroll companies, he's owned multiple properties. He's also very, very good in the world of coaching, either from business side or from a personal side. So if you're kind of looking for that mode, if you're stuck, that would be a good avenue to start peeling back the onion and help him kind of unleash some things to kind of get you going, especially as we're coming into 2025. But how are you, my dude? How's Eugene weather today?
Good. We're supposed to get up to a balmy 50 degrees today, so that's super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've had just a storm come through, and it's not just a squall. It was literally like 30-mile-an-hour winds last night. It was hammered down on the skylights. It was just a deluge all night long.
Oh, yeah.
Of tree debris and rain and thunder and lightning. I mean, we had massive amounts. So the thunder was so loud and so long, I didn't know if it was going to stop. It was that, and it was super close. I mean, we live on top of a hill, so everything comes to us and then echoes through the valley. And so it felt like it was right on top of us.
That's
all
crazy.
Night long.
How do the kids act through? How are the kids through all of that? Are they
sleep like babies, buddy?
Nothing.
Yeah, that means I'm doing my job as a father when my family can sleep peacefully.
Yeah.
Through just about anything.
Yeah.
They know I've got it. And that's so all a guy can expect. That's the best Christmas present in the world for me, is just to see the, happiness on their faces yesterday, having them be able to sleep at night without a care in the world. Yeah. That's
awesome. What was Lincoln's favorite gift?
He got a pogo stick.
Oh, yeah.
He loved that. Yeah.
That's
he was
awesome, man.
Yeah. I got videos I'll be posting later today or tomorrow when I get some time of him on the pogo stick. And he just, the kid's got balance for days. I mean, he rolls around the house now on a hoverboard that he got last year, and he just zips around, and you know, he's doing like drifting. He gets down really super low and drifts around the corners, and so I'm excited to see what this pogo stick does. First thing I told him, I said, go get your inline skate gear on, your elbow pads, your wrist pads, your helmet, all that stuff. And so on his way to go get that stuff, he pogo sticks on his way to go get that. And then has an ADD moment when he gets there, pogo sticks back, and I'm like, where's your gear? And he's like, I don't know, I forgot.
That's great.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just excited. Jump around.
How about your daughter in April?
Yeah. So the daughter got all kinds of stuff. One thing that she loves to do is draw. She's very creative. And she got these markers, and she was stoked that they don't bleed and they don't this, and she can go over the top of them. And she's very intricate about her details, about her drawing and her creativity. She had a ton of fun. Absolutely. We had a lot of family. Good. It's kind of like the last year that April's whole family is going to be with us. Everybody's moving sometime in the spring. And so it's kind of, they're going to have to travel a long ways. One of them's moving to Florida. The other one's moving to, Belize. And so kind of the last time everybody's going to be here. So it was a good time. It was pretty low key. I spent the day holding down various furniture and just taking a little break.
Yeah.
And, yep.
Right on, man. Right on. You get anything cool that you really, I mean, obviously with your family, that's the most important for you. I understand that. Did you get anything cool? Like, oh man, this is an awesome gift.
April and I pretty much don't do a lot of gifts for each other. We pretty much fulfill those scenarios throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this a while back. I mean, for our anniversary / a couple of presents that I owed her because I'm horrible about presents. I told her, I said, as busy as we've been, we are lucky that both of us didn't end up with gas station jerky or presents for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, so it's kind of along those lines, but she did get me, her and the kids got me what do you call it? It's like a video camera with an umbilical on it. It's got like 20-foot umbilical, so I can stick it down into engines. I can stick it down into plumbing. I can stick it down into it's super cool, man. So something I use. Yeah. I like stuff I can use,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the kids got me a gift certificate to Jerry's. That's our local home improvement store because I spend like money like a drunken sailor there.
Yeah.
So yeah. It was pretty low key. Not a lot of presents. I'm not a real big fan of presents for myself. I like to see pleasure on other people's faces.
Yeah.
So I got April. She likes fuzzy socks, warm socks. Her feet are always cold, so I got a couple pairs of warm socks. And I did something that she, I think, values more than any present I've ever gotten her. I got her a card, and I wrote a small novel in that card.
Good.
About how I feel about her,
yeah.
The impact that she's made on my life, the impact that she's made in my successes and my trajectory, changed my whole trajectory. And I'm, one of the things that I said in that little novel that I wrote was, I'm glad I finally opened my eyes to the possibilities that you're showing me.
Crazy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. As hard as we fight it sometimes, dude, there's a lot of wisdom in our spouses.
Yeah.
And
they see things differently, no different than a coach does, no different than we do on this podcast, right? It's we break it down and give an opinion based upon a different visual that's so beneficial. No different in my coaching. It's the cheat codes that we're talking about all the time, right? Our spouses see us in a different way. They see us as a different person than maybe we see ourselves in our head.
It's so true, which kind of leads us into our subject today. You know, you and I kind of grew up as a, hey, we're just going to kind of do our own thing. Um, we've had some different relationships throughout our life. And obviously, both you and I both got married later on in life. Actually, I
Mhm.
was married earlier, but I've been remarried for a second time. But kind of came into those relationships a little bit of stubborn,
Not us.
a little stubborn. It's our way or the highway. For the beginning, still a little bit of that. Maybe our spouses might say there's still a lot of that left over, but it's
Mhm.
coming up to our subject, you and I have both some different things. So just to let you know, Brent and I kind of talk throughout the week or talk a couple days beforehand. Hey, what's your mindset going into this week for our podcast? From different listening to podcasts from churches and sermons and stuff like that. Typically, the subject comes out of there. So, I sent out to him. Have you crowded people out of your life? What would make you? Excuse me. Have you crowded people out of your life that would make you better? And then Brent shared with us how much did your distance cost you, which is kind of the two same things. So Brent's saying, you know, he writes a small novel to April for Christmas, just letting you know, thank you for all the things that you showed me, shared with me, so on and so forth. And I feel the same way. When you say that, is that I fought it for so long. And so when you say how much did that distance cost you, um, there's a lot to that, right? How much
Mhm.
distant, how much you could go back where you and I have always talked. You can't go back and look in the past, but you can go back, man. If I would have done this, this, and this, just where would I have been at that time? And it allows you to make some adjustments. So it's not really a negative
Mhm.
thing to go ahead and look back as long as you know how to make adjustments in the past. But God, what you just said is, as I said here just a couple seconds ago, is how much did that distance cost you in the beginning?
Yeah.
When you and April first started dating, even when you were first married, how much did that cost you?
Well, we talk about the, we've been talking about planning for
Mm-hmm.
2025 and visualizations and manifestation and becoming a new person, that you have to become a new person to get to the next level. Um, I watched and listened to an Ed Milet um, talk over the last couple of weeks, three different times in three different talks. So in Arate, which you were a part of, he said it in there, and then he said it in another mentor group that I belong to, and then he said it on his own podcast. He said, "New levels create new devils," and that hit home for me.
Oh,
Is as we move forward into planning, you want to. We've talked about this before. You obviously want to be present in the moment, and then you want to manifest your future prior. And you don't really want to look in the past. They say the reason why there's the windshield's bigger than the rear view mirror is so that way you can look forward too. But I always look at it, and when I coach on this premise. Have you ever heard the truck driver analogy? Have I ever told you that?
it sounds familiar, but go ahead and share with us
So
again.
truck drivers are trained to drive 3 miles ahead and 2 miles behind and 100 feet on each side. Okay, so as you're sitting in the driver's seat, you want to make sure that you're looking ahead far enough that you can foresee danger or shifts in traffic and things like that. No different than life is. And we talked about this over the last three episodes about manifestation, the planning of 2025 and all of that. And then the 100 feet to each side is to make sure that you got your peripherals on and that you can see things coming at you from the side. Things that you can't really plan for, that you can't really see. And then the 2 miles behind is don't focus on the 2 miles behind, but know what happened so you can better prepare for the ahead, right? And so when you sent me that last night, it sparked something in my head to get to the next level. Sometimes we have to leave folks behind because they're not progressing. How many times have you went to work out with a buddy and he didn't show up? Multiple times in a row.
Right.
You stop asking, right?
Yep.
But what if that last time that you didn't ask might have been a game changer for yours and your buddy's relationship? Might have been a game changer on your next level. Might have been a game changer on an introduction that person might have wanted to give you, but just hadn't felt comfortable up until that point.
Right.
What
Right.
and I think this is where you are going too, is, if you have to cut people out of your life, I mean, they say, that you got to clean house sometimes to get ahead. And I wonder, and I think this is where you are going, but I wonder, when you clean house, are you cutting yourself short? Are you cutting that relationship short? Are you cutting your opportunity short?
Yeah. And it, it's such a slippery slope when we kind of start peeling back the onionness and, distancing yourself from different people. Yes, there's some people that you should distance yourself with because they're a detriment. But also it comes down to, which you and I talked about before we came on today, are you distancing yourself from people that can be an attribute? And that's where
Or
you have
or
to,
you can be an attribute to
or
them.
you can be an attribute to them. So those are some of the things. I mean, even going back to, we started off talking about our marriages where we distanced ourselves, where they could have been actually an asset instead of a detriment in our minds at that time. Same thing with any type of relationships. Yeah, some of the relationships that you are in or involved with are going to have seasons with them, but are you cultivating that relationship? Are you really, like, instead of, we talked about first, are you putting stuff in your way mentally or even physically, that, like, yeah, I want to have a relationship with you, but I'm so busy right now because I have to go play golf, or, I really I have to get this work done, so on and so forth. But realistically, if you just took 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes once a week, once a month, whatever it is, um, whatever that time shift, and really cultivated that relationship, would that become an attribute to you, or, yeah, for you, or for that other person?
Well,
And
we
that's
talked about it, my word for 2025 that you so appropriately and helped me get to a couple episodes ago was value,
value,
right? So
right?
are you valuing people and the opportunities? So we have a listener, Tommy
Mhm.
Hill. He came to me as a tenant, and the way that we did business together and interacted as a tenant landlord relationship is cultivated into a tremendous business and personal and professional relationship. He handled himself with the utmost responsibility and handled the whole process with the utmost professionalism, even though he's no longer a tenant, and the whole tenant landlord thing went sideways because of his roommate. He handled himself with such a tenacity that I I felt obligated to not only not cut him out, but felt obligated to share with him the opportunities that he had and that I had in our relationship and building a reciprocal relationship. Whereas a lot of people would have said, nope, he's a tenant, he's beneath me, and he's not paying his bills, and he just, or not him, but the whole group aren't paying their bills, so I'm just going to cut everybody out, right? But Tommy, out of that group of folks, was the one rock that had a shiny side to it, and all you had to do is turn that rock over to see that shiny side. And sometimes turning that rock over is just giving people an opportunity and not cutting them out. And Of course, as if you're hanging around addicts, likely you're an addict, right? And so they say the 5 people you hang around with the most is who you're going to be. I struggle with that because Tommy and I likely had, if this interaction hadn't happened, we may have never been put together, but we were put together for a reason. And it's been an extremely reciprocal relationship. I add value to him and try to help him along. I mean, his story is sort of my story. 5 years ago, Tommy was living in a tent down on Four Corners.
So I'm going to stop you right there, though, and I wanted to come back to this before I forget this question. So, but could you have done this 10 years ago? Would you
I
really
was
have listened to him 10 years ago? Or
no,
would you,
no, I wasn't in a place
5 years
where
ago?
5 years ago, maybe 10 years
Okay.
ago, no. 10 years ago, I was the silent but deadly guy, as you used to call me.
Right. So, but, and then, okay, so we know that 10 years ago you want to do this. What is it taking? What has it taken you to get to that point that, okay, 10 years ago, absolutely not. I would like to, whatever. I'm sitting, I'm breaking necks and cashing checks, as you said.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, like, get out of my way. I'm going to run you over type of attitude, which you kind of
Mm-hmm.
still have to have in life regardless. But what is it taking you to get to that point? What was the turning point that you're saying, you know what, there's something to this relationship that could really be good somewhere along the line?
I decided that I wanted to be a leader in all conversations. I wanted to show people their in in every discussion and every disagreement and in uh every scenario there's an opportunity for one person to excel or for both people to excel. And I wanted to start adding value to people and giving people opportunities to see a different way through that situation. So Tommy likely putting words in his mouth. He's now a good friend and a good business partner. But likely he probably thought I was just going to be your typical landlord and just dirtbag him. And I showed him a different light and a different scenario and a different side and an opportunity for him to understand that I wasn't normal like other people, that I wasn't going to just treat him like a tenant, to the point that he's been listening to us, he's been listening to me, and I've sort of been coaching him all along. He quit his job, a long time job with a good friend of his, and started his own business and now has his own LLC and a painting company, and he's painting my rentals.
That's awesome.
And 5 years ago, he was literally living in a tent. And 2 years ago, he was a tenant who was struggling with a roommate for them to pay their bills on time.
Yeah. Crazy. But you know that, again, it's going back to, and obviously you got to peel back the onion on me for the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to peel back on some
Mm-hmm.
questions for you.
Yeah.
Is that, what did it take for you to become? You said you wanted, you just said a couple minutes ago, you want to be a leader in that conversation, which is such a golden nugget. And I really want you guys who are watching this to hear that. You want to be a leader in the conversation. So there's some give and take in that conversation too, right? There's a point that you're going to cultivate that conversation, and there's a time that you're going to absorb that conversation. So being a leader doesn't mean like, hey, I'm going to tell you what to do. There's a give and take in that. A good leader is give and take, servant mindset.
It's
So
listening to
listening,
hear and
right?
understand, not listening to respond.
Right. And
That's the
so,
hardest thing I've ever struggled with, dude. I will
right,
tell you, it's tough.
right. And so I just love that. So, being a leader in every conversation that I'm in. And I hope that a lot of you just sit back and absorb that for just a little bit, because you could really get so deep in that. And it goes back to, what our topic is like, are you Are you shutting people out? Are you not building relationships with people that you're supposed to be uh, involved with, or do you know? But I want to even go back a little bit further. So you said, okay, 10 years ago, I couldn't do it. 5 years ago, yeah, probably I could have been a little bit different. How have you, every year, you're trying to get better, not only in business, not only in being a better dad, a better husband. Those three things are super important. But now you're cultivating yourself into a new level of leadership, or a different side to leadership. It's just like another hat. We talked to you about your businesses, and you have 4 or 5 business. So, okay, I was a leader of this way back, 2 years ago. Now I want to be a leader this way, which is it's in essence a kind of a model for a company. So how are you getting to, or do you, I know I'm kind of all over the board. Where do you think that you were born with leadership, or do you think that you've cultivated it through this podcast that we do, through books that you read, through people that you've been around? Do you think that's where it came from, or do you think you were born with it and just didn't realize it?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So I'll give you the example of my son. My son came out into the world, and you could just tell there was something different about him. And at 3 weeks, he rolled over not once, but 6 or 7 times. Full rollovers. That's not normal for
Right.
a 3-week old.
That's crazy. Right.
And then at 6 months, he went from kind of scooting around to running. And he, in every situation, he takes the lead. He doesn't sit back and wait. He jumps right in both feet.
Right.
And makes a lot of mistakes, I will tell you. And he doesn't want to hear from dear old dad about cheat codes or anything like that, because he wants to experience it on his own. And so I would tell you I was very similar in that way. The other part of it is learning and growing by assimilation, by experience, and by failure. Lots and lots of failure. I've been real good at assimilating other people's failures and using them as cheat codes to further myself. On the other hand, I'm a little bit, my son's a little bit like me, or I'm a little bit like my son. I gotta make mistakes, and I gotta take opportunity to learn from those mistakes. One thing that I heard in a talk a couple days ago was, are you replacing yourself not just this year, but every year? Or are you focused on replacing yourself and getting to the new year, new you? Everybody gets tired of hearing that, but that is 100% true. It's not new year, new you. It's new day, new you. Every single day, if you recognize yourself in the mirror as you're doing your mirror exercise, then you haven't done enough to move the needle for you, your family, or your community. My opinion. Here's another thing. Go ahead.
No, keep going. I didn't see that you were reading off the list. There we go.
Yeah, here's another thing. I read this and heard this quote the other day as well. There is a king and a fool in every person, and the one that you speak to is the one that emerges. So, in our interaction with Tommy, as an example, if I would have treated him like a fool, then our interaction may have been foolish. But I didn't look down on him because he was a tenant. I told him that he had a ton of opportunities in front of him, and that he had the opportunity to grow and prosper in such a way he's got nowhere to go but up. I told him that. I literally told him that. You have nowhere to go but up, dude. 5 years ago, you were at the complete bottom, and you've been climbing out ever since. Keep climbing. And I treated him like a king. And now, what's emerging? is a king. He's the king of his home group at his 12-step program. He's the king because he's mentoring. I think last time I talked to him, he was mentoring like 12 or 14 other guys in his home group. He was sponsoring a number of people. I think he had 8 or 9 people that he was sponsoring. He's leading his family. He's promoting his business to the community. He's promoting other businesses, including mine, to the community. I treated him like a king. And what was the opportunity there? The opportunity was for him to grow and for me to grow and for us to grow together.
Yeah. That again, it's what we talked about earlier. You distancing yourself from people that could, that could be an attribute to you. And we don't know how long this relationship with you and Tommy will last. It could last a lifetime. It could last a couple months. It could last a couple of years. We don't know. I mean, that's all in God's hands at the end of the day. But the ripple effect for the interaction to this point is so tremendous because it's catapulted a leadership flame. Maybe it's, it's a pilot light of leadership. Maybe it's an uncovering, maybe it's an unveiling of leadership, because you and I both believe that everyone has the capability of being one of the best leaders in the world, because we all have different attributes and different faults and different whatever, which is important for leadership. So that's why I said it, when we say, are you distancing yourself? Yes, distance yourself from the darkness, but also are you distancing yourself where you can be the light and snuff out the darkness and become that leader that even though you didn't think you could be one, that, what, maybe you start with a small circle, maybe you do something different. Maybe there's been something charming like, gosh, if I would just, it goes back to the Uncle Rico, right? Man, if I could go back and just play state one more time, I could throw that ball a country mile. Well, maybe this is your year, man. Maybe this is it. Maybe this last couple of days, maybe something's flicked in you. Maybe one of these episodes from this is our 82nd podcast. Maybe something in there is really stepped up there and doing some stuff. I think, I know there's some people that are doing some really cool stuff, and I'm not saying that is because they've been on our podcast, but there are some people that are going to have a pretty impactful 2025, and they had a pretty impactful 2024 and beforehand to get to that part. But some of the things that we've heard and watched them, what they're doing and how they're kind of taking the next step is kind of cool. Gary Scott's and the Ednas and the Caitlins and Ken McCumber, who's a big listener to us, just loves our episode. He's got some cool stuff brewing, man. And it's not just I'm going to use him as example. It's not so much business wise, the stuff that he wants to put together this year. And I'm pretty confident that it's going to happen, is going to be so impactful for so many people, not only community, but nationwide, possibly worldwide. It's just cool to watch when other people are doing some stuff and you really kind of sit back and absorb it, because we can kind of get lost in what's in front of our face instead of what's the long-term play, right? What's 3 years down the road? What's 5 years down the road? What's 10 years down the road? We've talked about this episodes ago of can't look what's in the next 30 seconds. Really, what you just said, the trucker aspect of it. What's 3 miles down the road? What's 100 feet on each side? What's 2 miles behind you? Whatever that. I know that I blew those numbers way out.
You got it.
So,
nailed it.
But really kind of being hyper vigilant in all of those stuff. So again, really want you to understand this topic that Brent and I are talking about today is the distancing you're creating taking away the attributes of what it could be. It almost sounds a little bit, I've been burdened by unburdened, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
type of
Well,
stuff. But
here's what I got for you. I can
okay,
summarize what you're saying and
thank
make a
you.
little bit more sense out of it.
This is why I bring
So,
Brent on here, because I go in soapboxes and then he wraps it up in a nice package.
so I wrote down while you were saying that, what or who you are seeking is also seeking you.
Mm-hmm.
And are you walking away from that opportunity? Are you ignoring that opportunity? Are you shutting that opportunity down?
Yeah. Are you using your eyes? Are you using your ears? Are you, I mean, really searching it, writing it down? I mean, just all of these things that we're telling you, we know that you know, but what we're hoping out of this episode is, with all the other 81 episodes, that something in one of these episodes triggers something that you've been searching for, or you've been having a hurdle with, or you had a victory and you don't know how to duplicate that. I mean, it's just, we're, I'm not saying we're regurgitating things that you know, but sometimes they get lost, especially in this world of what's next. Okay, we accomplish this, we do this, and da 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 da. So,
well, it
yeah,
goes back to our our name, Old Guys Still Rock, because we do.
mm-hmm.
We're still kicking tail. We're still
Right.
taking names. We're still making a difference. We're still affecting people's lives in a positive way. And I think that's the goal. I think, have a plan going into 2025, but also take some time to just be present and to just sit in the moment instead of just going through the motions and checking the boxes. Make sure that you are truly making a damn difference.
Yeah. For you introverts, like I am and Brent is, and you're really going to have to force yourself. If this is something you want to do, we can't. Maybe you like kind of just doing there. I mean, I trust me. Over the last couple of days, it's been awesome kind of just being with family and kind of being this controlled environment. But you really, for us to be better, we have to kind of get out of that silo, out of that box. And what Brent has said so eloquently is, are you, say that again? Are you searching for?
What or who you are seeking is also seeking you.
There you go. So, what are you looking for?
Yeah, it just goes back to the manifestation part of it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you're manifesting something, likely somebody or something is manifesting you.
Mm-hmm.
Just be open to the alignment, be open to the thoughts and the possibilities of somebody or something that may be uncomfortable, may be hard to deal with, may be a struggle. If you're struggling to get along with somebody, there's a freaking reason. Seek that reason and figure out why. That might be the person that you need to replace yourself with, is the person that can deal with that situation in a different way than you can deal with it today.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Just sit there and think about every person that comes into your life. There is a reason behind that. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's just you have to, but do not dispose of it because of. I think Brett said something really good too. A little bit ago. Um, just because they may not be in the same caliber or maybe tax bracket or whatever doesn't mean they don't have something to offer.
Yep.
And vice versa with you. You may not be in someone's same tax bracket. Um, they may be in a higher tax bracket than you are. Whatever. Doesn't mean that they don't have something to offer. Doesn't mean that they don't want something to offer. Sometimes the people that are above you are looking for people to come to them. So don't be afraid to go out there and ask that question. But again, it's,
Yeah.
are you taking the time to build relationships, or for an attribute, or you taking time just to disregard them, and that it can't be. So some good stuff today, dude.
Yep.
Kind of going into this is the last episode of 2024 for us, my friend. Next time that we
Crazy.
get on here will be the first day of 2025, I believe, something like that. Or actually, Wednesday is that day. So
Mhm.
yeah, the next time we'll be in here, we'll be in 2 days of 2025 already. It's been a fast year. Holy Moses,
Yeah.
has it been fast? So, any final thoughts for you?
Just continue to seek opportunities for growth and prosperity, not only for yourself, but for those around you. And seek out those interactions that are uncomfortable. That's where the growth is going to happen for you and for others.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not about you. And as always, go make a damn difference.
Difference. All right, guys, we're gonna get the heck out of here. We got a lot of stuff to do because as we continue to pursue perfection and settle in excellence. But we hope that you had a very, very Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating on that. We hope that you have a very safe and happy New Year. We'll see you. If you haven't done so yet, did a really big favor for you. We need you to first and foremost share the show. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Even if it's not this episode, it's episode number 77 or 52 or number 1 or number 14, whatever it is, share that show.
Mm-hmm.
We would love comments. Let us know what your thought process is, not on Facebook, not on Instagram, literally either on Spotify or YouTube. Leave us your comments in there. It helps our audience grow a little bit. The more that you comment on those channels, the better it is for us. We're not asking for any money contributions. We're building the show on our own. So the more that you can help us by spreading, subscribing, sharing, commenting, those things really help us get to a spot that we can really go out, as we said, to is building relationships to help other people grow. So, and help us grow too.
By the way, we wouldn't turn down a sack full of $100 bills, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But even if you just text us, even if you do put it on Instagram or Facebook, any type of interaction is beneficial for not only us, but you as well as our other listeners. So we appreciate all the folks that have supported us, and we hope to have opportunities to support others into the future.
Amen. All right, guys, stay safe, but most of all, God bless, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Take care. All right, dude.
Cool.
Have a good day.
You too.
Enjoy that. Has it stopped being windy out there?
No, dude, it is dark 30. It's like, wow, dark. Like all the lights came on the building. That's how dark it is outside.
That looks like flight cancellation city to me.
Oh no, they'll still run. They'll still run.
Skidding down the runway. Whee!
Sideways.
See you later, man. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye.